Dyes and dye and preparation of an dye, methyl orange. Dissolve 10 grams of sulfonic acid and 3 grams of anhydrous sodium carbonate in 115 centiliters of water. To the solution, first add 4 grams of sodium nitrate, dissolve in 20 centiliters of water, and then a mixture of 70 centiliters of concentrated hydrochloric acid and 10 centiliters of water. Dissolve 6 centiliters of methyl aniline in a mixture of 20 centiliters of water and 10 centiliters of concentrated hydrochloric acid. Cool the solution under running water and pour it slowly and with stirring into the diazo-sulfonic acid and dilute solution of sodium hydroxide, and the solution is just alkaline. This can be seen by the change in color. Add to the mixture 50 grams of salt dissolved in 115 centiliters of water in order to facilitate the separation of the dye. Heat the mixture to boiling until gas bubbles disappear. Allow the solution to cool to room temperature and filter with a large funnel without the use of a suction. When the liquid no longer passes throughout the filtered paper, transfer the precipitate dye, which is mixed with much water, to a funnel connected with a filter bottle and pump, and remove the last part of the solvent by suction. It is well to proceed in the way described and noted to attempt to filter by suction at first. In this case, the paper soon becomes clogged with the dye and filtration proceeds very slowly. The salt may be purified by recrystallization from hot water, about 115 centiliters of filtered boiling solution in the way described in page 6. The yield should be about 12 grams. Dissolve a little methyl orange in water and add alternately to the solution dilute hydrochloric acid and dilute sodium hydroxide as long as a change in color is observed. Dissolve about 0.2 gram of methyl orange in about 10 centiliters of dilute hydrochloric acid. Add about 1 gram of zinc dust and boil the solution as long as any change takes place. Methyl orange, like other azo dyes, is reduced to colorless compounds by hydrogen in acid solution at the N to N bound. Preparation of a triphenylmethane dye, malachite green. Melt cautiously over flame in a 6-inch overheated dish 5 grams of fused zinc chloride. As long as the bubbles are given up, remove the flame, and as the zinc chloride cools, rotate the dish slowly so that when cooled, the chloride covers an area from 3 to 4 inches in diameter. Put into the dish 30 grams of dimethylene and 5 grams of fresh distilled benzyl dead. Cover the dish with a watch glass and heat on the steam bath. The steam bath for 4 hours. Stir the contents frequently with a glass rod, which should be left in the mixture. Transfer the reaction product to flask. The part that cannot be poured out of the preparation dish can be treated repeatedly with hot water and thus removed. Distill with steam as long as any oil passes over. Discharge the distillate, pour the water out of the flask and dissolve the material sticking to the side of the flask in a small amount of boiling alcohol. Filter the solution and set it aside to crystallize overnight. The leuco base, which separates, may form at first as an oil, but constantly changes into masses of small crystals. Filter off the solid, dry, and weight it. The yield of leuco base should be from 7 to 10 grams. To convert the leuco base into the color base, it is oxidized by lead dioxide. The dye is phenylmethane as the double chloride of the color base, and zinc chloride. Prepare the lead dioxide as follows. Dissolve 8 grams of lead acetate in 15 centiliters of water. Mix throughoutly 20 grams of fresh bleaching powder with 300 centiliters of water and filter. Heat the solution of lead acetate and add the solution of bleaching powder slowly, giving the solution just below boiling. When all the lead has been precipitated and the solid has changed to a deep brown color, stop heating and let the precipitate settle. Pour off the liquid and wash the solid 3 times. By decantation, use about 500 centiliters of water each time. Dissolve 5 grams of the leuco base in a mixture of 5 centiliters of concentrated hydrochloric acid and 10 centiliters of water. Pour this into a large beaker containing 400 centiliters of water and 100 grams of ice. Stir and add slowly, taking about 5 minutes for the operation. The lid of the oxide, from which as much water as possible has been removed by decantation. Next, add a solution of 5 grams of sodium sulfate in 25 centiliters of water. This is to precipitate the lead, which has gone into solution as chloride. Filter, and to the filtrate add a solution of 5 grams of zinc chloride in 10 centiliters of water. To precipitate the dye, add 10 grams of powdered salt and stir until the latter has dissolved. Filter with a large funnel and finally transfer the dye, which is mixed with much water, to a funnel connected with a pump and remove most of the solution of suction. Wash once with a solution of salt. Transfer the dye to a porous plate and quite dry with the compound. By the equations using graphic formulas for all the reactions involved in the preparation, the yield should be 7 grams. Preparation of a Phthalein Fluorescin. Melt cautiously over a flame in a 6-inch evaporating dish 5 grams of anhydrous zinc chloride. As long as bubbles are given off when the zinc chloride solidifies, add 10 grams of Eosin and 7 grams of phthalic anhydride. Cover the dish with a watch glass. Place it on a wire gauze and heat very carefully over a flame about 2 centimeters, at the top of which is 2 or 3 centimeters below the gauze. The heating should be at such a rate that the mixture produces bubbles slowly. In about 15 minutes, when the bubbles cases to be formed and the mass becomes stiff, stop the heating and add to the dish after it has cooled somewhat 100 centiliters of water and 20 centiliters of concentrated hydrochloric acid. Heat the mixture to boiling and break up with a glass rod the mass on the bottom of the dish. If a few minutes, pour off the centiliters, pour off the liquid throughout the filter and green the solid with a paste. Add 100 centiliters of water and 20 centiliters of concentrated hydrochloric acid and boil again. Finally filter and wash with water. Let the Fluorescin, the insoluble residue, dry in the air with the product. The yield should be about 12 grams. Fluorescin can be crystallized by dissolving it in hot alcohol or in hot glacial acetic acid and adding water. Dissolve a trace of fluorescin in a dilute solution of sodium hydroxide, examining the solution by reflected and by transmitted light. Preparation of Eosin. In a small flask, over 5 grams of fluorescin with 20 centiliters of alcohol. Add slowly a small portion, taking 10 minutes for the operation. 4 centiliters of bromine. Shake the flask frequently. When about 1/2 of the bromine has been added, most of the fluorescin passes into solution as a dibrom substitution product. As the addition continues, the tetra-brom substitution product crystallizes out. Allow the mixer to stand for an hour. Filter and wash twice with a small amount of cold alcohol. The yield is about 7 grams. Dissolve utilizing in sodium hydroxide, examine the solution when transmitted and by reflected light. Salts of Eosin are used for dyeing. Prepare some of the ammonium salt and falls. Place in a desiccator about 25 centiliters of concentrated ammonia. Place about a gram of powder Eosin on a small watch glass and support it on a triangle in the desiccator. Cover the latter at the next exercise test the solubility of the substance on the wash glass. If it has been completely covered into the ammonium salt, it will dissolve without residue in water. Dissolve some of the ammonium salt in a little water and then use the solution as ink with a new pen. Dissolve about 0.1 gram of the salt in 200 centiliters of water. Dye a piece of silk by heating it with the solution for about 10 minutes. Dyeing with a substantive dye, Congo. The cotton to be used is in this and the experiments with follow should be heated for 10 minutes in a boiling solution of 1 gram of sodium carbonate in 500 centiliters of water. Prepare in this way 7 pieces of white cotton cloth about 6 inches square. Wash the cotton 3 times with water and let it stand under water until needed. Dissolve 0.1 gram of Congo and 0.1 gram of sodium carbonate in 500 centiliters of water. Heat the solution to a temperature just below boiling and add pieces of white cotton cloth, woolen cloth and silk about 6 inches square. Stir occasionally to obtain even dyeing. At the end of 10 minutes, remove the fabrics and wash in hot water as long as the dye is removed. Cut the pieces into two and place half of each material in a very dilute solution of hydrochloric acid. Let the sample stay in the air until dry. Then with an adjective dye, Mordant, Malachite green, Mordant, 2 pieces of boiled out cotton cloth, allow them to stand for 15 minutes in a cold solution of 0.2 gram of tannic acid in 200 sticks of water. Fix the tannic acid on one of the pieces, replacing the cloth without washing into a solution of 0.2 gram of tartar emetic in 200 centiliters of water and allowing it to stand for 10 minutes. Make a dye bath by dissolving 0.1 gram of malachite green in 500 centiliters of water. Add to the bath a piece of boiled out cotton which has not been mordanted. Mordanted, the piece of cotton mordanted with tannic acid from which most of the solution has been removed by pressure. The piece of cotton cloth on which the tannic acid was fixed by tartaric emetic, a piece of wool and a piece of silk, dye for 15 minutes at a temperature just below boiling. Work the pieces over and over with a rod occasionally to obtain even dyeing. Was the dye material in boiling water as long as color is removed? Dry. Compare the appearance of the 3 pieces of cotton cloth. Why is the piece which was treated with tannic acid and tartar emetic darker than the one mordanted with tannic acid alone? Explain. Then with an ingredient color Preparationof, dye 3 pieces of boiled out cotton cloth in a solution of 0.2 gram of Preparationof and 0.2 gram of sodium carbonate in 500 centiliters of water at temperature just below boiling for 15 minutes. Wash the clothes twice in about 500 centiliters of water. Prepare the adjective bath by dissolving 10 centiliters of concentrated chloric acid in 500 centiliters of cold water and then adding 0.2 gram of sodium nitrate. Place in the bath the 3 pieces of cloth which have been dyed with Preparationof and allow them to stay 10 minutes. Circulation. Prepare 3 baths in which the adjective Preparationof is to be developed. Dissolve 0.1 gram beta-naphthol in 1 centiliter of a 10% solution of sodium hydroxide and add 100 centiliters of water. Dissolve 0.1 gram resorcinol in 2 centiliters of the sodium hydroxide solution and add 100 centiliters of water. Dissolve 0.1 gram of phenol in 1 centiliter of the sodium hydroxide solution and add 100 centiliters of water. Transfer the clothes from the diazo bath to a beaker containing about 500 centiliters of water and stir. Put 1 piece of cloth in each of the developing solutions and allow them to stay 5 minutes. Wash the dye clothes twice with water and dry. And the sun comes.